Hey, everybody! It's September 14th, Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, and I'm joined by my co host, Nick Durst. What's going on, Nick?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Sports, Politics, and More. And of course, this evening, we'll be talking about multiple things. We'll be giving you our NFL picks as well as recapping the previous NFL weekend. And we will be probably talking about the Mets a little bit. But we got to start with the Democratic presidential candidate. Is she healthy? What's the deal, John?
So, Hillary Clinton had what, the left media tried to censor and say that she stumbled, which was bullshit. She basically passed the fuck out. If anyone hasn't seen the video, it's all over YouTube. There's a couple of really good versions where they, zoom in on her feet. You can tell that she's dragging her feet. She's completely out of it. I don't know if I'm really super duper into it. So, I've been checking the news and everything lately. But last night, the person who hacked the DNC released a new batch of emails. Did you hear about that?
I did with the Colin Powell stuff. It's really crazy. And before we get into the emails, though, the video of Hillary, people say, all right, whatever, she didn't really pass out. She passed out, and instead of giving her medical attention right away like they should have, they picked her up and chucked her in a car. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, she looked like when they put her in there, they put her in there like she's a sack of potatoes. Anybody who could see that's the death blow right there. Because any person who's remotely intelligent sees that and goes, oh shit. She's been coughing like crazy. She fell and hit her head and had a concussion in 2012. My thing is this. She probably fell and hit her head when she had one of these episodes, which, a lot of people have been talking about. I don't know if you listen to Hannity, but the Hannity show, he had a couple of neurologists on and goes, yeah, this is most likely it's a side effect of Parkinson's. She probably has the early onsets of the Parkinson's disease. The hack and cough is a real telltale sign, because a lot of times
I thought she was just allergic to Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, it was heat stroke, and then it was first it was just a cough, then it was allergies, then it was a heat stroke. Heat stroke. It was 78 degrees that day. Who are you kidding?
Listen, we got to get into the hack, which is great stuff. But before we do, we have to address the other elephant in the room: was there actually a body double?
You know what? I try not to talk about that kind of stuff because it does seem like, a conspiracy theory. But I gotta tell you that some of the evidence that's out there on the internet is really, really telling. And if that's true, if she really has a body double, she has really risen to essentially Saddam Hussein level.
You know what? If she had a body double, there's only one word to describe her: deplorable.
Ugh. Talk about that. So I read a blog by Scott Adams. He's the creator of Dilbert, but now he does a lot of. Speaking of which, we got Andrew on the line. Andrew, can you hear us? Andrew, hold on 1 second.
Let him go. Let him call back.
All right, you got to call back because I don't know how to do this.
If anyone wants to talk to us tonight, give us a call at 1-718-717-8296. Hopefully the phones work. So far, every week of our show, they have not, thanks to UCY TV's phone lines and Skype. Or the best way to reach us would be to type in the UCY lobby chat. We always answer and read your questions there. And that's where we will read comments like Otto von Bolschwig saying she was dead weight in regards to Hillary Clinton. You can also tweet us. I'm at Nick_Durst. John is at SI_sports. And, of course, our show is at spam_UCY TV. So, John, we just mentioned it about 3 minutes ago. Let's get into the hacks here. What information was released with the hacks?
So there's a ton of information in the hacks. And don't believe any of that bullshit that the media is trying to spin, that it was the Russian agents. It's actually an inside source. It's Julian Assange from WikiLeaks has already said that it was leaked. Not a hack, a leak. So it's someone on the inside who's releasing this information. So they're just trying to blame the Russians as some sort of 1980s Red Scare nonsense. In reality, it's just they're terrible about cybersecurity, and their deplorable actions has forced, the conscience of someone that works there to release this information. So, the smoking gun so far has been a laundry list of people that donated money and then immediately got some sort of either ambassadorship or some sort of government appointed office that is directly linked to them donating money. One woman actually got nominated and appointed as the ambassador the same day that she donated $1.2 million to the DNC. So, there's so much evidence of pay for play. But the one, I guess because it's snarky, the one thing that's come from this this leak and this batch of emails that has that kind of stuck is an email from Colin Powell to one of his friends in 2015 talking about Hillary being sick. She's saying that she's unable to even walk up the podium stairs. But in the same email thread, he also says he doesn't want Hillary to run, even though they're friends, because he knows that she's money grubbing and that Bill will be back home in New York dicking bimbos.
Yeah, that was really funny. I saw you retweeted that.
Hey guys, I'm actually here.
Andrew, what's going on, buddy?
Hey everyone, how's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good. Tell us what you think about Hillary Clinton's medical history. You work in the medical field. Tell us a little bit about what you think is wrong with Hillary.
Okay, so obviously, being that, I don't really talk to doctors that much, but I've been doing a bunch of research lately on this Hillary pneumonia stuff, okay? It's basically gotten to a point where the symptoms are obviously there. She looks like she has a bunch of dizziness symptoms, which I'm not going to get into, but the dizziness is a very suspicious sign. And when she was dizzy at the 9/11 event this past weekend, you clearly tell that Mrs. Clinton wasn't herself, and clearly that video came out showing her fainting, obviously.
Well, you know what's great? It's Donald Trump could have slammed her, but he took the high road, and in doing so, he actually hit her pretty hard by saying, I hope she gets healthy.
Yeah, he also said that he's willing to sit during the debates if she has to, which I think is such a good, underhanded, jab at her health. Because, listen, the woman can't do an event. She had more days off in August than she worked. Donald Trump does multiple events every single day. This woman does, a little bit of talk piece nonsense where she may or may not have an earpiece, and she just, robotically repeats nonsense talking points and then disappears.
Well, so, the thing is, with Hillary, obviously, maybe she does have maybe Hillary does have an earpiece, okay? I saw a meme on Facebook, and it said, this Democratic person saying, no, basically say this about Trump. Good. Now bark like a dog.
Oh, you remember that?
I swear it's ridiculous. It's completely idiotic. And what John was just bringing up, I'm wondering if Hillary is going to sit out in these debates. It would be a complete embarrassment to the Democratic Party.
Is Hillary? I hear Hillary Clinton barking or something. What's going on over there?
Well, if you do remember, Nick, Hillary did an event months ago. Basically, months ago, Hillary was, talking about Republicans and how she can't stand them. And, it was a big story, but then it faded out because, the liberal media doesn't want you to see it. But I remember it very well. Hillary was basically making fun of all the Republicans and basically was barking like a dog for no apparent reason. And there's one woman in the crowd thinking she's lunacidal for doing that.
Andrew, and how do you feel about Hillary Clinton calling you deplorable?
Oh, boy. When I first heard that, I was thinking, okay, first of all, a lot of people notice about me. I have not supported a Democratic candidate since 2004. I'm going to be completely honest. I supported John Kerry in the 2004 election.
Ooh. Andrew, you were
I will admit that.
You were like 7 years old in 2004.
Well, here's the catch. I supported McCain. I supported Romney because I was afraid of these Democratic policies hurting America. And I've basically been, supporting social conservative values for the past 8 years. And basically, when Hillary said that statement, basically calling me racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, first of all, I am a very, very vocal supporter of the LGBT community. Plus, I have friends who are gay. So that basically insulted me. And the thing is, the reason why I'm completely voting for Trump is because I don't want to see any more democratic economic policies. They have hurt this country since Obama took office. The debt was $10 trillion. By election day, we are forecasted to be at $21 trillion. Nick and John, that's a very scary thought right there.
Yeah, that is just deplorable.
It completely is deplorable. That makes the point that Hillary is deplorable for basically calling me deplorable, for basically calling every union worker in this country deplorable that's supporting Donald Trump. There are a bunch of worker unions in this country supporting Donald Trump, and they felt insulted when she said that.
It's really disgusting. We have some comments here in the chat about Hillary fainting. Otto says it's weird we have two videos from opposite points of views for the same 30 seconds, but no video for getting to the first point, which is true. But what happened was is we did see Hillary forcing a little girl to take a picture with her. Did you guys happen to see that?
Yes, Rush Limbaugh brought that up. Yeah.
So the real cornerstone on the entire Hillary piece, if we want to try to not make this just an on-air Trump rally, is the fact that it wouldn't matter who was running against Hillary right now. She's showed her cards as being most likely the most corrupt person to ever run for office. Between the Clinton Foundation and the email and the fact that she's just constantly doubled, triple, quadruple down on lying about it. And to the point where the corruption goes so deep that Comey won't press charges with the FBI. Did you guys see yesterday? It was yesterday, the day prior, where Congress gave a subpoena to the FBI live on TV. That's the banana republic we live in right now, because Obama's administration is just incredibly corrupt, and it really goes hand in hand with the Clinton Foundation. It's insane if you think about it. 3 of the IT guys that set up this private server get subpoenas to appear in front of Congress. 2 of them show up and plead the 5th, refuse to answer any questions, and the 3rd guy doesn't show up. So, the idea that they're being transparent whatsoever it's laughable. And I was talking to Andrew about this today. New York's going to be a blue state, but I honestly don't know one Hillary Clinton supporter in real life. I've never actually met a real human being who's a Hillary supporter.
I know somebody. I actually know someone.
Wonderful.
But one of my bosses at Northwell Health, she basically has voted for Hillary twice in the Senate election. She supported her in the 2008 Democratic primary, and she even voted for her this year. And she's basically saying, despite Hillary's health, I'm still going to be voting for Hillary Clinton. And this is one of my bosses who's been a lifelong liberal at Northwell Health. So you got to keep that in mind.
Delusional. It's delusional. These hardcore, establishment, Democrats, you can't even call them liberals, because actual liberal ideology is completely separate from this nonsense. I was reading some tweets about Hillary's health when it was trending before Twitter took it off, fucking censorship, where people were like, I wouldn't care if Hillary was in a hospital bed, anybody but Trump,
Idiots.
It's insane.
So last week on Wednesday, they had a little panel town hall thing. I heard Matt Lauer really, got Hillary pretty good, but the media afterward just spun it, that Trump was irrational. I didn't watch it, so why don't you guys give a little analysis of it?
I watched.
Well, I'll give an analysis of it first of all. Basically, Hillary, the thing that bothered me the most, and John can rant about this after what I said, I'm going to say right now, it's going to upset a lot of people. We did not lose a single life in Benghazi. And that basically angered me to a point thinking, are you dumb? We lost a U.S. ambassador to Libya on that day. Are you nuts, Mrs. Clinton?
Yeah, she's Another byproduct of Parkinson's is, the early onset of dementia, because she says things that last time she said that we lost nobody in Benghazi was during the Benghazi hearings, and she got like tons of flack for it, and she just repeated it again. And as far as the Matt Lauer goes, Matt Lauer didn't hunt Hillary at all. He just was sort of fair, sort of balanced. But if you actually look at the actual statistics, he actually goes after Trump, interrupts Trump 12 times, interrupts her 6 times. But because he didn't just go there and go, Hillary, why are you going to be the best president? Kiss her fucking ass.
But that's the problem here, because if Donald Trump had passed out and got shoved in a car, imagine how crazy the media would be going over this.
It would be the #1 story in the world. Instead, they act like this didn't happen. This happened 3 days ago on September 11th, and it's like already out of the news cycle. They're talking about bullshit. They're already talking about, did Trump donate enough money to charity? Who gives a fuck if he never gave $1 to charity? You know what he didn't do? Almost fucking die and then pretend it never happened. And lie to us. Why did it take her like 18 hours to say that she had pneumonia on Friday? When she first passed out, it was because she was hot. I'm telling you, that video never came out. And thank God for that citizen and his iPhone.
Andrew, you're our field reporter, so real quick, look up some recent polling numbers for us if you can. And John, it's really just insane how, and then the Associated Press was asked to poll the video of Hillary being shoved in the car. Why did that happen?
Oh, yeah, so the Associated Press tried to say that they didn't have the rights to show the video because it was a citizen who did it. So Paul Joseph Watson, who works for InfoWars, he's a really great follow on YouTube. I know that InfoWars doesn't have the best reputation because they do some crazy stories. They essentially do this. If Drudge or anyone reports on it, they report on it. So they try not to edit anything out. So sometimes they get crazy shit that's not true. But Paul Joseph Watson, he's really, really good. He does a lot of really good work. He's a British guy. His YouTube channel is phenomenal. And so what he did was he went out and spent $5,000 and bought the rights to the video to keep it on YouTube because the Associated Press deleted the video and they were just trying to bury it. The Hillary corruption, it goes so deep that, a lot of the things in these DNC leaks, you'll see that, political writers, MSNBC, certain people at Fox News were actively working with the DNC. Like when they wanted a story pulled, they could call somebody and get it pulled.
And John, your job, you're all about search engine optimization. How about what Google's doing to make it search, if you type Hillary Clinton, only great things come up?
Yeah, that should be illegal because, Google's at the point where A, they have a monopoly, it needs to be broken up, but B, they're like a public trust. So many people trust it because it's supposed to be science, it's supposed to be an algorithm. But that auto finish is completely nonsense. So if you look at side by side, there's a bunch of screenshots. It says Hillary Clinton is, and you go to Bing, Yahoo, or XG, or any of the other search engines, it gives you all the same results. It gives you by search volume. So if you go into any of the Google tools, like the keyword research tool, it tells you how many times a phrase or a word is searched per month. And Hillary winning and not Hillary passing out isn't trending on the day that she passed out.
I'll tell you something right now. Let me tell you guys something right now about what John was just saying. Here's what Google results should be saying about Donald Trump right now. There is a new poll that was conducted. I don't know what source it was, but one poll basically said that Trump was leading Hillary 44 to 39%. Keep that in mind. Ohio, a very key swing state. This is what you should be seeing when you're Googling Donald Trump's name, in my opinion. And, I honestly feel that maybe John has a good point. Maybe the Democratic committee is paying these search engines off just to make you, seem that Hillary looks like a great candidate. But in reality, she's not.
It's not that they're paying them off because Google has so much fucking money you can't pay them off. It's the fact that Hillary and Bill, and this is sort of like what NAFTA and other things happened in the past, is they are very much have their hands in private business. The too big to fail happened because the deregulation when Bill Clinton was president. So it let these gigantic banks just merge and merge and merge until there was only a few big ass banks. and then they quote unquote got too big to fail, so they could just make crazy, risky, no collateral investments on all kinds of things, and then when they can't pay up or it falls through, they go oops, and the government just bails them out. The same idea is why Google and why people like Mark Cuban and these other like super duper rich people at like MSNBC and those companies are pushing for Hillary because
I'm surprised about Mark Cuban because him and Trump were pretty close prior to Trump running. So I don't know where that went south there.
And the Koch brothers.
He's a hack. That's all. He's a hack.
The Koch brothers are very important in this case because they went on. One of the Koch brothers went on TV and they said, "Well, to look out for our interests, we're better off just supporting Hillary Clinton." Mark Zuckerberg, he's praying that Hillary wins. Maybe Bill Gates and definitely Tim Cook. From what I've heard, Tim Cook is definitely praying for Hillary to be president.
Yeah, and the reason is because it's about like this idea of like globalism versus nationalism. These type of people, especially these multinational corporations, they make so much of their money essentially all over the world. So they're all about globalization. But in reality, yeah, globalization has brought all these people out of poverty, but not here. It's redistributing American wealth all overseas. So the fact that Donald Trump is a nationalist, he's very much America first, that is the number one thing that scares them. Because when it's America first, you can't outsource all your jobs, and you can't make people train Indians to outsource their job so that when you go to college and you got a nice STEM degree and you're an IT guy and you're a front-end developer and you make really good money, we're going to outsource your job for pennies on the dollar to Bangladesh, and we're actually going to pay you to go there and train them, and then we're going to outsource it. So these big, gigantic corporations between Walmart or Apple, they've been taking advantage of globalization, getting filthy, filthy rich over it, with like the idea that it's some sort of charity. In reality, it's economic slavery. There's a reason why.
That's why it's called the Walmart economy.
It's insane. So what Walmart does is they purposely keep people's hours at the minimum before they'd have to pay for health insurance, and they keep everyone at all of these part-time hours, and then basically what the people are forced to do is go on welfare. So it's like the government is subsidizing their workforce. That's insane. And they've paid lobbyists, and they've, really like concreted themselves in this area, between getting dirt cheap things from made in China that are just junk, flooding our market that way, and B, outsourcing a ton of our labor. When people hear about Trump, they're like, oh, well, fucking Mexican guy mowing lawn. I don't want to mow a lawn. It's not about that. It's about every single, even new fields where it comes to like any type of computers or programming or any type of, call Dell right now and you'll talk to some guy in Bangladesh. That used to be a normal, good-paying $60,000 job here in America, and instead it's a $10,000 job in Bangladesh.
That's why Donald Trump has slowly been making America great again, but it could also really be make America American again, and that's what we need. We need American society in America where everyone speaks English and has American values and does everything the American right way, by the books. It'll work out for everybody.
You like that.
That's part of his promise. But and that there's something still in politics here, but not on the presidential level. Andrew sent myself and John a voice memo last week, and he had a little update on his status in his mayoral run of New York City. So, Andrew, why don't you share that with our listeners?
Okay, so today, and definitely today I've been thinking about this carefully, but last week I've been thinking about it too. Today I went to Lower Manhattan, and let me tell you right now, it's not great. It really isn't. The homeless rate has gotten completely worse. And today when me and John were having lunch, there was a heroin fiend basically asking, for our pizza slice. I'm thinking, what the hell? And the pizza manager said, hey, you were here 5 minutes ago. Get out! Get out! But in all seriousness, I've been doing some really serious thinking, and I feel that if I jump into this race, I could very much well risk the safety of New York City. So, basically, I'm going to send a message to Bodatil. I'm going to send a message to John Catsimatidis. I will be happy to volunteer for you here in Queens because Queens has basically decided every mayoral election. People don't underestimate. People say, "Oh well, Queens never matters. Queens is just another borough." Well, keep in mind, history shows us that Queens elected Rudy Giuliani. Queens elected Mike Bloomberg. And Queens, sadly, elected Bill de Blasio.
Also,
there is a good chance we have
Queens
Republicans in this
elected Anthony
area.
Weiner.
Oh boy, Anthony Weiner, I don't even want to get into that. Please, that jerk off, give me a break.
Be careful with what words you use to describe him. You're using too accurate of words. But continue with your mayoral speech here.
So, basically, I'm not going to run. I have really thought this over carefully because, again, if I'm in this race, I mean, I'm not very experienced with politics. And right now, I feel that Bodatil, with his police experience, could very much help the way the NYPD needs to police again. Because there should be more... I'm going to be honest with everybody right now. There should be more police officers around Penn Station. When I was around Penn Station today, and this is just looking around today, I did not see one single police officer in front of Madison Square Garden on 8th Avenue. This is not a joke.
There should be a police officer in every subway station.
Agreed. And the thing is, I see it all the time lately. My dad told me, this is true from my dad's eyewitness account because he used to be a limo driver. When Dinkins was mayor, my dad said that, you're living in David Dinkins City again. And this is basically true. This is basically true. When David Dinkins was mayor, we had a huge homeless rate in the city. Then when Giuliani came in, we cleaned it up. Bloomberg continued it until his third term, of course, when things started to deteriorate down. Then you have this loser who is in City Hall right now, and frankly, Bill de Blasio is a loser at this point.
Well, you know what's interesting? And I think police presence has gone down. I don't know how they're being scheduled hours-wise. I had to work on Sunday, and I got left off on the West Side Highway instead of Trinity Place because I guess Hillary was passing out or something. I had to close the block. And I had to walk from the West Side Highway over to Trinity Place to hop on the R train. And, this is right by One World Trade. And there was minimal police presence. And I was shocked and I was a little uneasy. I knew nothing was going to happen, but I figured, you never know, these crazy people, these homeless people, these radical, Islamists, these terrorists nowadays.
The only way you see police officers nowadays, unfortunately, is in Times Square. That's the only station that they're
gotta watch out
focusing
for the
on.
tourists. But I wanted to transition here because, there was a lot of police at this stupid thing, but Bill de Blasio said the parade is going to go on, no one's going to get hurt, and then, what do you know, as usual, at the Joe Vert, whatever you want.
Oh, no, not that West Indian Day parade. Give me a break about
2 people are killed, including a St. John student. What a disgrace. The parade should not have happened.
Agreed. I mean, I say it all the time to people. And again, a lot of people are going to get offended because, remember, I'm not politically correct. Keep that in mind. That is the most dangerous place to be in the whole city of New York. And that is my complete opinion. Basically, every single year, and Curtis Lewa is the guy who always brings this up, because keep in mind, he's the Guardian Angels leader. He says it all the time. It's dangerous. There's always drugs. There's always weapons. And basically, you're letting these freaks go around along Eastern Parkway every single year. It is ridiculous. And I frankly believe this parade should be canceled. Oh, guys, I got to get going. So, Nick, John, you have a good rest of the show, and I'll be listening.
All right, thanks, Andy.
So, yeah, but John, what do you think about that stupid parade?
It's the Rape Day parade. It's ridiculous. There was actually a leak a couple months ago. I think I might have been talking to you about it. I think we were talking about it on the show, where one of the police union guys brought it up to the news about how the terrorist watch unit or whatever it's called, like that counter-terrorist part of the NYPD, was getting their hours cut because the city didn't want to pay overtime. So that's essentially what it is. We got more money for them programs, but we don't have enough money to pay cops the overtime. So that's why you don't see cops anywhere in the city. So essentially they said, you know what? Crime's not as bad as it was in the 70s. We don't have the warriors out. So essentially, it's fine. We'll spend money on, multimedia outlets all over the city so homeless guys can search the internet.
We have a comment in the chat. John Tidor was here. He says, no place in New York City is safe. And I would have to say, he's pretty much right for the most part. We got a lot of parts of Staten Island are safe. Some parts of Brooklyn are safe. Other than that, it's definitely not safe to be walking around any hours of the night. I mean, dangerous things happen all the time in these areas. I had to go to some random place in Brooklyn Saturday night. Ooh, it was the jungle, man. It was pretty scary. Luckily, my car was still there when I got back.
Dude, did you read that article? So Staten Island's going down the fucking shithole too. I think it was 9 or 10. No, it was 10 people died of overdoses on heroin in a week. How crazy is that?
That's insane. But I'm just talking about like violence, like stabbings and
that kind of stuff goes hand in hand. Because when you have a large part of the population that's doing hardcore drugs like that, they become desperate. So you see the vagrants in the city begging for money. But what goes hand in hand with that is stealing shit. Let's start stealing car radios and blah, 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 blah. And that's when it comes to let's start robbing motherfuckers. And in New York, there's no guns. Nobody's allowed to have a gun. So essentially some fucking guy on the street can come up to you with a hammer or a knife or whatever. And that's it. You guys, hopefully he asks you for your wallet before he just starts bludgeoning you and takes it. So, the state of affairs in New York City is a real disaster.
Yeah, and I was on the train last Thursday, headed back from work, and I got these 3 Mexican guys jump on the train. They all spoke English. One of them was in a 3-piece suit with the vest and everything. And his other 2 guys were dressed in jean shorts and a t-shirt and a hat, whatever. And the guy in the suit is like, "Oh, my face is numb. I can't feel my face." And the other guy's like, "Oh, what from?" He's like, "Oh, I think it's from the crack from last night." And he's like, "Oh, you getting crack tonight?" He's like, "Yeah, I got it. I don't know how I can get through the night without it." So I mean, the drug problem in New York City is really bad.
Yeah, it's not like nothing I've ever seen, but it all comes from the idea that the whole thing with the 2 cops who were killed and Bill de Blasio essentially aligning himself with Black Lives Matter's nonsense, which is such tongue-in-cheek nonsense. He's actively taking advantage of the black community. When the structures of society start falling and people start hurting and people start making less money, the people that hurt the most are the people that make the least money. So what these idiots don't realize is, oh, cops are out here murdering us, blah 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 blah. All right, so we're gonna have less cops out.
Right.
Your neighbor was the neighbor that needs the cops.
Otto, I'll let you answer this question. I'll answer first, and you can answer. Question for the host: has any law passed in the last 20 years improved your New York City safety? I would say yes, stop and frisk, but Bill de Blasio got rid of that, so it doesn't exist.
So there was actually a whole list of laws called the broken window laws that Rudy Giuliani passed. And essentially it was anything that was a quality of life, whatever you want to call it, a quality of life problem that was against the quality of life. So if you have people pissing outside or, living on the subway, you could give them tickets and or arrest them. They've relaxed all of those laws, and essentially what you have is vagrants doing whatever they want.
Yeah, so there's your answer as far as that. It's pretty crazy right now in the city with these crazy people. I'm waiting for the bus 2 days ago, and this homeless guy sitting right at the bus stop, and every time a woman walked by, he's just screaming, "Bitch, bitch!" Yeah, they're going to give you money because you're screaming bitch at them. And these mental health issues, people need their pills. But, that's just what's going on in the political landscape right now. Let's transition over to sports real quick. And we're going to do mostly NFL here, but real quick, because we didn't get to touch on them last week, the Mets have come back from being just so far back. They're currently in the second wild card spot, a half game up on the Cardinals. and a half game behind the Giants for the number one wild card spot. Seth Lugo's been great as a pitcher filling in. What do you think about their chances here? Do you think they're actually going to make the wild card game?
I think they have a real chance. My brother was actually at the Nationals game down in D.C. today.
Terrible game for the Mets.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big believer. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I went to the game last Saturday. We lost to the Phillies. Ugh. But, I think we could make it to that wild card game, and we could probably win that wild card game because, if it lines up right, Noah Syndergaard is arguably, I think, on any given day, the best pitcher in baseball. He has that kind of stuff. But are we going to make a big, long playoff run like the way we did last year? I don't think so. I think in a 7-game series, I think the Cubs would really beat up on us this year. Very similar to the way we beat up on them last year. So I'm not getting my hopes up. I hope they do it just so they can do it. But this team has a lot of holes, a lot of problems. I did like seeing the young kid hit his first home run the other day. That was cool.
Yeah, TJ Rivera. I think Sandy's just going to go with the hot hands here, which means Jay Bruce has to sit because he's an automatic out.
Yeah, and it happens a lot. Guys get traded. They try to, they're trying too hard. Baseball is very much a mental game. So, he had the 27 home runs before he got here, and he's sort of just fallen off. But, this isn't a video game. It's very much mental. And maybe, the new stadium, he's pressuring because he's trying to impress the new fan base. Who knows? But, he's been out of wax completely. He's going to be completely out of sorts. So I guess that's sort of looking like a bad deal now.
Yeah, we will see what happens. And as we get closer to October, we'll talk more baseball. But we just had week 1 of the NFL season. You heard it here first. Me and John predicted the Giants would win. They did. I told you the Jets would lose. They did. What are your takeaways from week 1 of the NFL season? The biggest takeaway is don't make Tom Brady mad. And without him, the Patriots beat probably the best team in the NFC. So there ain't going to be no stopping them, especially when Brady comes back in week 5. But what are your takeaways?
That's a great place to start. The takeaway is, how good is New England? Well, their 2 best players, Tom Brady, who is arguably the best quarterback ever, and Gronkowski, who is arguably the best tight end ever, are both out, and they still find a way to win. They get guys like Hogan, I don't even know where the hell that guy came from. They got him out of the parking lot.
Got him from the Buffalo Bills. They can get anybody, and they'll be great with the Patriots. I mean, who was Wes Welker before he was a Patriot?
He was on the Dolphins, and he sucked.
Yep.
So, Bill Belichick is an evil genius. I don't really like the guy, but I got to give it to him. He schemes, and whatever you give him, he does well. So look at the Patriots and how good they are. They're starting running back in Deion Lewis out. Their starting quarterback suspended. Their starting tight end hurt. Any other team, that's a death note, like complete death sentence. They go out, beat the best team in the NFC, and most likely going to be 4-0 when Brady finally comes back. So good luck, everybody else in this league, because I could see Tom Brady and the Patriots winning 13, 14 games. It's going to be scary.
Yeah,
and
I think 13 is a conservative number. I mean, I could really see them winning like 14, 15 games easily.
They're going to be really good. And I follow Tom Brady on Instagram. He's pumped. You could tell that he's just chomping at the bit to come back and fuck this whole league up. He posted a picture of him having a toss with his wife, but first of all, he's going to be rested because he's not playing, and he's going to be in that, he's going to be planning, he's going to be watching film.
MVP.
He's going to be ready.
MVP, possibly. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But, yeah, so that was week 1. It's always a good Sunday when the Mets win, the Giants win, and the Yankees and Jets lose. And to beat the Cowboys is just cherry on top.
Yeah, so my takeaways from that game are I'm very happy that Victor Cruz is back. The kid Shepard, he ran a wrong route that ended in an interception, which was very Ruben Randall.
That was all Eli's fault, I think, because
that's a check back.
He threw it so far at the ground, he wasn't going to catch that behind him anyway. It could have been an incomplete pass, but there was no shot Shepard was catching that.
Yeah, but he was supposed to check back that route. He wasn't supposed to be there. Eli just threw him to a spot. But
if Eli sees the guy past the spot already, why are you still throwing it behind him?
It's a timing route. You just throw to the spot and hopefully the guy's supposed to be there. I think it's probably too complicated of a play to be playing with a rookie who doesn't know the system that well. But Shepard did score a touchdown. He looked a lot better than fucking Ruben Randall. So I think offensively, I was very happy. It was our offensive line stinks, and running the ball is still kind of a problem. But
what I actually saw from the offense that I liked was, besides the fact that Will Tye was catching these first downs out of nowhere, Larry Janelle's back looking good. It was the fact that the Giants were able to run the ball on first down and actually get a first down right up the middle a few times with Jennings and Vereen, which is very rare to see with the Giants. And then defensively, I thought the defense was not good, but they did a good job. They held Ezekiel Elliott to 3 yards rushing and Des Bryant to 8 yards receiving. But Jason Witten, as usual with the tight ends, absolutely destroyed Landon Collins, who's a bum.
Yeah, so what I take from the defensive side of the ball is our defensive line, when it comes to run stopping, is still playing very, very well. I think Snacks is going to be a nice little piece for us this year. And we're going to stop the run. That's great. The problem I see for us, our cornerbacks actually played pretty well. Des Bryant's one of the best receivers in the league. We basically took him out of the game. The real problem is our linebackers when they drop into coverage. Our linebackers stink. So a lot of the times, teams are going to hit up their tight end on us, and their running back's going to catch a shitload of passes off us. Our linebacker play has to get better. Our safety play has to get better. And we have to try to get some pressure on this quarterback. We had no sacks, and the only time we really got pressure is when we blitzed off the end with Rogers Cromartie. So I really, that's not a good sign. JPP did look better, but he certainly didn't look like himself like he was a couple years ago. Maybe they just need some time to get rolling. But
how about that picture I sent you?
I know his fucking hand. Holy shit. God damn.
His middle finger and pointer finger, index finger, they're attached in one stump.
Yeah, it's such a shame too, because God-given ability, just like physical talent, he was like a monster. He was such a good physical, like he would just bull rush the left tackle, fucking boop, fuck out of here, and that kind of talent doesn't come around all the time. It's that's once in a lifetime type talent.
Did you happen to check out ESPN's terrible new countdown crew?
No, I make a point of not watching ESPN because they're part of like Disney Core, and they're the fucking worst.
Well,
they're like the TMZ of sports.
Listen to this crew they got. All right, so they got Chris Berman, great, one of the all-time most famous broadcasters. He's been there forever. Then they got Charles Woodson, who never did TV before. Randy Moss, who's actually pretty good. Freaking Trent Dilfer, who sucks. And I think Matt Hasselbeck and Annie Apple. Do you know who Annie Apple is?
Nope.
Eli Apple's mother, the Giants cornerback.
Why do they have a rookie's mom on the show?
Because when he was drafted, she was tweeting about how them bitches need to stop, trying to get some from her son and all this crazy stuff. So now she's which is nuts. So that's just crazy. But you're not going to learn anything from those people anyway. If you want to know, who's good and whatever, you come here. You come to sports, politics, and more. And that's what we're going to do right now. Me and Joy are about to run through all week 2, and we will let you know who's going to win. So we got about 15 minutes left in our show, so let's keep the analysis brief here. And let's start off with the game tomorrow night. You got the Jets traveling up to Buffalo to take on Rex Ryan, Rob Ryan, and the Bills. And real quick before we tell you who's going to win that game, did you hear how Rex took off his lap band in his stomach because his brother Rob got it and something went wrong? He was unable to successfully keep it, so he had to take it off. So he said, in unity, we'll both either gain weight together or diet together. Isn't that crazy?
That fat fuck just wanted to eat.
I mean, that's funny. But anyway, so who's going to win this game and why?
I got the Jets winning this game for a couple reasons. First of all, the only bright spot in Buffalo was LaShawn McCoy. He's on my fantasy team. But the Jets are really good at stopping the run. They got to Andy Dalton quite a lot. I watched the entire Jet game. And they got, I think, 7 sacks, which is really good. Powell looked good. They should have won that game. They lost that game because their kickers just shit the bed. He missed an extra point, and he missed a field goal that was a chip-in. So they really should have. That's a game that they should have won that they just gave up, and that's going to come up to bite them in the ass at the end of the year. But I think they're going to go up there. There's nothing going on in Buffalo that I'm afraid of. Tyron Taylor, whatever. He's all right, I guess. He's nothing special. Their receiving core is nothing special. I'm not worried about it at all. I think they're going to stuff the run. They're going to turn over the ball a couple times, and then, Brandon Marshall, Decker is going to have a nice little game. They're going to win 21-3.
All right. Let me ask you a question. Do you know the last time the Jets beat the Buffalo Bills?
2 years ago.
2013.
Jesus, really?
I'm going with the Bills. They own the Jets, especially at home. If you look back history further, you saw what Ryan Fitzpatrick did in Buffalo last year in the last week. It's hard to throw there. It's windy. It's not going to be too windy, but it's going to be windier there than anywhere else right now, even in week 2 of the season. Somehow, some way, the Jets will find a way to do it. They'll find a way to lose. Maybe Darrelle Revis sucks again like he did against A.J. Green.
Oh, what was that?
8 yards. If maybe Sammy Watkins goes off. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I'll say the final score is Bills 13, Jets 10. And the Jets are going to go 0-6 to start the season.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
I like
they
it.
got a tough schedule coming up. So, good chance they're going to be bad. But how bad were the 49ers? I mean, how bad were the Rams that the 49ers just absolutely destroyed them? That'll lead us into our next game. The Seahawks are going to take on the Los Angeles Rams, the first football game in L.A. since the early 90s.
Before the season started, the Rams were my surprise pick, but I guess I'm not surprised anymore.
That was the terrible pick.
terrible pick. Holy shit. I'm picking Seattle. Spank that ass up.
Definitely, we don't even need to do analysis. The Rams just suck. And, the team that's really happy about the Rams sucking is the team that's not even in their division. The Tennessee Titans, because the Titans get the Rams' first pick next year. Because the Rams traded for the Titans' first pick this year to take Jared Goff, who is the number 3 quarterback on the roster. And did you watch any of Hard Knocks?
No, actually, I didn't. I didn't get. I usually watch it. I didn't watch it this year, though.
So it was with the Rams, and this whole scene was about Jeff Fisher's preaching. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. That's some 7-9 bullshit. We're not going 7-9. We're not going 8. We're not going 9-7. We're not going 10-6. We're not going 11-5. No, you're going 3-13 because you suck. All right. Apparently, the Rams are looking to extend Jeff Fisher. You can't do that. You got to wait and see what happens. The team's done nothing but lose, and just because they're in LA, it's not going to make a difference. And the next game, let's talk about the Titans going to take on the Detroit Lions.
Ooh, I'm going Detroit Lions. I think Theo Reddick's going to catch a bazillion passes. I like Matt Stafford. Their defense, isn't great, but listen, the Titans suck. So I'm going Detroit, big time. 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I will. I think it'll be a little closer than that, but I do think the Lions will pull it out. They did beat the Colts last week. It was a close game as well. A game that's of interest to us: Cowboys and the Redskins. I'm going to say Kirk Cousins and the Redskins beat the Cowboys. What do you say?
I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm going to go that the Cowboys, that Zeke Elliott's going to have a big game. Because the Giants just sold out on the run. I think he's going to have a big game. The young kid, whatever his name is, Dink, whatever, actually looked pretty poised. He didn't look like the game was too big or too fast for him.
Dak Prescott?
Yeah, he actually looked pretty decent. So
Yeah, he was okay. All right, so you got the Cowboys there. Next up, we got the Chiefs and the Texans, two 1-0 teams in the AFC West. Or not the AFC West, just in the AFC.
Going Texans.
Texans. All right, I am going to say I think it's going to be a close game, really, and it could go either way. But I will go with the Chiefs narrowly on a field goal, possibly. Dolphins, Patriots. Anyone who says the Dolphins are going to win this game, you're probably a Dolphins fan. I think the Patriots will win.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Dolphins are terrible and Patriots are great.
There you go. The Ravens going to Cleveland to take on Josh McCown and the Browns.
Oh, RG3 is not playing anymore?
RG3 is on the injured reserve.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, I got her because the Browns' offensive line is awful. So I mean, you knew that was going to happen. I think we're both going to say the Ravens will win this game.
Yep, I'm going Ravens.
Big Joe Flacco going to come clutch again. I know you hate him. 49ers taking on the Panthers, the 0-1 Panthers.
Going Panthers.
Yeah, I think the Panthers will bounce back this week, and they will beat Chip Kelly and the 49ers. And what's probably going to be the game of the week here, we got the Bengals traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers.
Ooh, good game. I'm going Steelers.
Steelers, yeah. I mean, the Bengals were pretty impressive last week, but the Steelers were a lot more impressive, destroying the Redskins by 20. Steelers, they got a legit shot to take on the Patriots in the AFC title game this year. I will also go with the Steelers, especially since the game is in Pittsburgh. Then we got your guy, Charles Sims, and your other guy, Jameis Winston, and the Bucs taking on the 0-1 Arizona Cardinals and the all-time great Larry Fitzgerald, who now has 100 career touchdowns.
Listen, first of all, I'm taking the Cardinals, but the Buccaneers, if Doug Martin can stay healthy all year, they're going to be a hard team to beat. They're not. I don't think they're making playoffs or anything crazy like that. I'm not saying that, but the guy's an impressive talent. He reminds me so much of like McFadden, like one of those guys who's just like whenever they're healthy, they're like holy shit, but they're just never healthy. It's very much like Reggie Bush. I hope he stays healthy. I like watching his talent, but those guys never do.
Yeah, it's difficult to stay healthy in the NFL, and that's why we give all the credit to Eli Manning, who hasn't missed a game. But I'm also going to say the Cardinals. I still think the Cardinals are the best team in the NFC. They just happen to play the best team in the AFC Week 1, so something's got to give there. Wouldn't it be that you something, a Week 1 rematch of the Super Bowl? Who knows? Might happen. Falcons going to Oakland to take on the Raiders.
I have to go Falcons just because I don't believe in the Raiders, but that's another thing about this league. There's so much parity in it.
Yeah, this is definitely a game that can go either way. I have both teams in the playoffs. The Raiders beat the Saints last week. I think the Raiders will win this one just because it's at home. If it was in Atlanta, I'd say Atlanta probably have the edge. But like you said, parity, very close to two teams.
And that's the thing, like about this. That's like a toss-up game, and that's one of the things that's kind of good about this year that hasn't been good about the NFL in past years is that the bad teams still have something going for them.
Yep.
Like the Oakland's a bad team, but Derek Carr, he can throw that ball around, and they got some receivers, so they can score some points. So you can't just lay down. There's no easy victories anywhere in this league.
Mm-hmm. We got 5 more games left. The last game we're going to talk about is the Giants-Saints. So let's breeze through these next 4 real quick. We got 4 minutes left, so let's give each of them like 20 seconds. Jaguars are going to take on the Chargers.
Chargers.
I'll say Chargers as well. They have a great offense. Don't really believe in the Jaguars too much yet. Philip Rivers at home, San Diego. That's all I have to say about that. They're going to score. Colts are going to Denver to take on the Broncos.
I'm going Broncos.
I think the Broncos will probably win because they're at home. The Colts, surprisingly, will start off 0-2, but, it really wouldn't surprise me too much if Andrew Luck just does an amazing game and somehow they squeeze it out. But I said the Broncos as well. Packers taking on the Vikings in Minnesota. First ever game at the new Viking Stadium.
Packers are going to ruin their home opener.
Yeah, whether it's Sean Hill or Sam Bradford, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Discount double checking his way out of there with the victory. Monday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz, who was pretty impressive week 1. Then again, he did play the Browns. They're going to take on the Bears in Chicago. Who do you got? I say the Bears, and you say?
The Bears.
The Bears. Excellent. And last game here, we got about 2 minutes before the music starts. The New Orleans Saints are coming to town. They're going to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Giants. Who's going to win? Why? Go ahead.
Big Blue Wrecking Crew. The Saints secondary is fucking awful. Eli is going to throw the ball all over. They're going to have to start game planning for Cruz again, and that's going to open it up for everybody. The Giants are going to win handily.
All right. It's definitely going to be a high-scoring game, I think. You said the Saints secondary sucks. So does the Giants. Drew Brees is 4-1 in his career against Eli Manning and the Giants. The final score is going to be in the high 30s or 40s for both teams, I think. I think Drew Brees will once again have more touchdowns than Eli Manning, and the Saints will come out victorious in another typical Giants heartbreaking loss.
I'm a believer. You got to be a believer.
Yeah, I will say this about last week before we go. The Cowboys lost in Giant fashion. That was something that the Giants did last year. So luckily they got the win, and it was good to see a real role reversal for once.
I got to say, so during the Giant game, I wasn't sure we were going to win the whole time, obviously. I was very nervous. But on the same note, I felt like the team had a little bit more cohesion this year. I felt like if that same exact game that we played last year with this team, we would have lost that game. Like that last drive where the Cowboys had a chance, I feel like everything broke the wrong way last year, and that we would have given it up, and they would have scored that field goal, and we would have lost.
Yep, that's definitely true. And before we go,